Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we're going to be talking about the Orioles and Yankees Game 3 that just ended about 10 minutes ago. Wanted to obviously get this episode out for you guys. Orioles had a pretty early game today against the Yankees, and unfortunately the Orioles lose this game 4-2, and they have lost this series to New York. They won game. The Orioles won Game 1. And all they needed to do was win one of the next two games, and they dropped the last two games to the Yankees. Obviously, yesterday they lost 0-9, and then today they lose 2-4. The Orioles had the lead in most of this game, and then the Yankees were able to rally and get the lead back by scoring 3 unanswered runs. And the Orioles lost this game 4-2, and have lost another series at a time where you really can't afford to lose a series. And this Orioles season as a whole has been such a roller coaster, man. It started off, okay, and then it, went crashing and burning, and then, we got some guys back from injury, started going back up a little bit, and now you have a couple more injuries, and also just you're losing series, which you don't want to see. But yeah, the Orioles lose this series to the Yankees. They lose 2 out of 3. This was the rubber match today. They couldn't get it done. And, yeah, man, it's just really unfortunate. Obviously, the Orioles are in no position to be losing a series. And as I said yesterday, this game was a must-win game, and this series was a must-win series. And the Orioles just can't get it done. The offense was very dry. They scored 2 runs early, and they didn't score any more runs the rest of the game. They couldn't really get on base too much. The offense was very flat. The pitching overall today was fine. Dean Kramer went out there and played well. But Brian Baker did give up the lead late in the game, which was unfortunate to see. But, yeah, let's just go over this game. So going over this Yankees and Orioles game, obviously the Orioles lose this game 4-2. The Orioles record sits at 33-44. They're back to being 11 games below 500, when just 2 days ago they were 9 games below 500. So now they're back to being 11 games below 500. They're 33-44 in the season overall. And, yeah, man, just a really heartbreaking loss for this Orioles team. They had the lead literally the entire game, and then in the 8th inning, the Yankees just took the lead back and scored 3 runs in the 8th, and then that was the dagger in the game for the Orioles. And it was really heartbreaking, man, because they were up by, they scored 2 runs early in the first, and then the Yankees made it 2-1, and then the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th inning, the Orioles were winning 2-1 that entire time. It was a pitching duel. And then in the bottom of the 8th inning, Brian Baker gives up the lead, man. Again, really heartbreaking to see. Low-scoring game overall, but a very heartbreaking game as the Orioles blow the lead late in the game and lose, really because of their bullpen and their offense just not being able to score any insurance runs. But going over the offense, the Orioles put up 7 total hits on the day, get walked 4 times, so they got on base about 11 to 12 times, and they only scored 2 runs off of it. They were 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position. They left 9 guys on base. The Yankees, on the other hand, it was very similar for them as well. They left 9 on base as well, and they went 3 for 11. The Orioles went 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position, just couldn't really bring in any runs. They had opportunities to bring guys in, they just couldn't do it. They did early on, but then after that, they just couldn't bring guys home. Jackson Holliday had a 2-hit day. He goes 2 for 5. Ramon Urias goes 0 for 4 with a run scored. Gunnar Henderson goes 0 for 1 with a run scored, and he also has 3 walks. So Gunnar Henderson 0 for 1, 3 walks with a run scored. Ryan O'Hearn goes 2 for 3 with an RBI. Ramon Laureano goes hitless. Colton Cowser 1 for 4 with an RBI. Cedric Mullins goes hitless. Dylan Carlson with 2 hits. Michael Handley goes 0 for 1. He had to get taken out of this game because Michael Handley got into a pretty scary collision at the plate with Jazz Chisholm, where he kind of just ran into him and hit his head, neck area. Had to get taken out the game. Hopefully he's good. At this point, the Orioles just need to kind of just call up Samuel Basallo, because he is kind of just sitting in AAA, hitting nukes and hitting bombs after bombs in AAA. He's been incredible in AAA for the Orioles, but he is young. We don't want to rush him up at anything, but we might be forced to, because these Orioles catchers are kind of just dropping like flies. Adley Rutschman got put on IL, as we know, yesterday, but it was announced this morning that Adley's actually not coming back till after All-Star break. So we're going to have to wait like over a month until we see Adley Rutschman again. So that's very disappointing. That is very disappointing to hear. Hopefully Adley will be good. That's a big loss for the Orioles. I know Adley hasn't necessarily had the greatest season, but it's someone that you could rely on. So Adley Rutschman going to be out for a while, at least for probably another month. So yeah, we're going to be rocking with Gary Sanchez as our everyday catcher, and then Michael Handley as our backup. But Michael Handley got hurt today, so we'll see what happens with that. Gary Sanchez comes into the game, goes 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Not good from Gary. But yeah, the offense just couldn't really do anything. Again, they scored 2 runs early, couldn't score another run for the next 8 innings, and no insurance runs as well. Being up 2-0 or even 2-1 obviously is not enough to be comfortable with. And, we were doing fine. The pitching was doing fine for a majority of this game. And then obviously in the bottom of the 8th inning, the Yankees just, put up 3 runs. Jazz Chisholm got like a 2 RBI single. And yeah, man, just kind of heartbreaking for the Orioles. But going over the pitching on the day overall was solid. You can kind of blame the pitching and the offense. Obviously, the offense didn't put up any insurance runs when they had opportunities, so you can really look at them and blame them. But at the same time, they had the lead for a lot of the game, and Brian Baker just blew the game late in the 8th inning. And then that was the dagger in this game for the Orioles. But Dean Kramer in this game, he was phenomenal. 5.2 innings, gives up 5 hits, only 1 run, only 1 walk, and had 7 strikeouts. So again, 5 hits, 1 walk, 1 run, 7 strikeouts, and 85 pitch count across 5.2 innings. He almost goes 6 innings. He almost pushes that 6th inning, but we decided to pull him based on matchup, and also just because he threw a good amount of pitches. Keegan Aiken doesn't give up a run. Seranthony Dominguez doesn't give up a run. And then Brian Baker gives up 3 hits, 3 runs, a walk as well. Just not a good game for Brian Baker. 33 pitch count, 0.2 innings. He was getting worked, and the Yankees took advantage of that, and they capitalized off of it. And the Yankees took the lead late in the game and ended up winning. And then Gregory Soto, 0.1 inning, didn't give up a run or a hit or whatever, but it was only 0.1 innings. So, but yeah, man, disappointing game for the Orioles. Another series loss. They really could not afford a series loss. As I've said over and over again, they cannot afford to lose any series. So now that they've lost this series, they're back to being 11 games below 500. And I'm going to be honest, and I'm just going to speak from the heart and speak with truth. It's not looking good for the Orioles in terms of getting back to being around 500 by the time it gets to All-Star break or by the time that it gets to the trade deadline. It's not looking good at all. They would have to go on a generational run of games here to even get back into that position. And we'll see what happens with that. We're playing the Rangers in the next series tomorrow at home in Baltimore. So we'll see what happens with that series. And yeah, man, just a very unfortunate series of events for this Orioles team. They won Game 1 in the series, and then they went and dropped the next 2 and lost the series when all they needed to do was just win one of the next 2. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't do that in either of those games. Very heartbreaking for this Orioles team, 11 games below 500. Hopefully they can bounce back against the Rangers, but at this point they really need to start going for sweeps instead of just series wins because they've dug this hole themselves. And injuries have been a problem. Obviously you don't see Jordan Westbrook in the lineup again today. That's 2 games in a row now that he's been out. I don't think we're going to put him on IL. But we don't have him. We don't have Adley. Michael Handley. It's just unfortunate, man. What's been going on with this Orioles team, just all season. Right when things start looking really positive, you start to lose games. And obviously, as a whole, this month they've had a good month of June, but it could be better, and they could be in a better position. And hopefully, they finish off this month good, and start off July good as well. But going over to the next series that the Orioles play starting tomorrow is against the Texas Rangers in Baltimore. And tomorrow it is going to be Trevor Rogers back on the mound against Patrick Corbin. Patrick Corbin, as a lot of y'all know, Nationals legend. A lot of people maybe wouldn't say legend, but Patrick Corbin, old National. Orioles, Rangers, Trevor Rogers versus Patrick Corbin. Trevor Rogers, obviously his last outing was awful in that big 8-run blown game to Tampa Bay last week, or earlier this week. Patrick Corbin hasn't necessarily had the greatest season, not the worst, but not the greatest as well. Hopefully Trevor Rogers in this game can go at least minimum 5 to 6 innings. Again, you're just going to have to keep hoping for that. The bullpen for the Orioles has been really taxed over the past few days, and they don't really have any sort of break, so they really need to go out there and perform well for the bullpen and also just for the team in general. So hopefully Trevor Rogers can go out there and do that. The Rangers have had their struggles this season as well. They're 38-39 on the season right now, and they're actually losing currently to the Pittsburgh Pirates. So that would be their 40th loss if that score holds up. But the Orioles, again, 33-44, Rangers 38-39. Both teams have had their struggles. Both teams also had high expectations this season, and it's been disappointing on both ends. Obviously, for the Orioles, it's been a lot more disappointing, just because you look at like the talent, the future, and stuff like that. But in this series, we can go over to the pitching matchups actually in this series. Let's see if we play DeGrom. We do play DeGrom on Wednesday. So it's going to be Rogers versus Patrick Corbin tomorrow. Tuesday, it's going to be Charlie Morton versus we don't know in Texas. And then it's going to be Sagano versus DeGrom on Wednesday. So that Wednesday night game is going to be very, very fun, to be honest. That Wednesday night game is going to be very fun and interesting. Tomoyuki Sagano versus Jacob deGrom. That's going to be fun. That's going to be an entertaining game. But hopefully Rogers and Morton can hold up and do well before we go into that Wednesday Game 3 against the Rangers. But thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. If you like this content, make sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow up on Spotify, and whatever platform you're listening to on, make sure to click the link in the bio, follow the socials, follow the Instagram, follow the Twitter. I'm posting updates on both of them, and I'm also live tweeting during every Orioles game and any sort of Ravens news that gets updated as well. So make sure to give those a follow. Thank you guys for all the support. Thank you guys for all the kind words y'all have given me. Obviously, the Orioles lose the past 2 games. Yesterday was a blowout. Today it was a heartbreaking loss where they blow the lead late. And yeah, man, I'll see you guys in the next one. You have a great Seals day. I'll have an episode up sometime tomorrow night talking about Rangers-Orioles Game 1. Hopefully they can start off that Game 1 with a win. And at this point, they really cannot lose a series, and they also really got to go for some series sweeps if they really want to get back into the season, because it's not looking too good right now from where they kind of are in the stance that they are right now in the season and just the position that they are right now. So, yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one. You have a great Seals day. Go Rocket. Oh my God. Go Ravens. Go Orioles. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.